Today I'm going to do step 9 of Friendship International, which is starting to make a acrylic pocket for the front of my album. I'm using transparency film. This is actually printable transparency film, but I'm just using the clear plastic today. Now, the last step, step 8, I had not done the sides, and these are going to just be attached there. I think I'll do that to start with. This is my only, how do I say this? I have not done a lot with acrylic. I like the looks of it. I like the feel of it. I definitely like that you can see through it, but it's still awkward for me to use. So if you bear with me as I teach this, because it's new for me, and first of all, I'll just stick the pieces on that I missed yesterday. Remember, I don't like using tacky glue when I'm working with acrylic. So I will make sure this dries before the acrylic gets near it. So this is just what I missed yesterday. And I can see a little bit of magnet here, so I'm just going to put a Sharpie over it so I don't see that metal. I think my next box I'll make my magnets go in a little bit further. Okay, so now we're caught up from yesterday. And we're going to be putting a border on the front and inside cover. And I'm going to start with the inside, and they're both going to match. Okay, so that's how it's going to look. The strips are 3/4 inch. 3/4 strips, 3/4 inch strips, and the long ones are 8 1/4, and the short ones are 6 1/4. I'm going to open my album flat. And I think I will cut this piece. To begin with. I'm just going to cut, this is 8 1/2 inch paper, and I'm going to cut about 3/4 off. And just sort of eyeballing it here. Okay, so here's my piece of acrylic for my pocket. I'm just going to lay that aside. I'm now going to use foam tape. And what I did was I colored one side of the foam tape so that if it shows through the edge, it won't show. And a little bit of Sharpie at the end there. And I want an 1/8 inch showing. So I'm going to put this right about in the middle of my 1 inch strip. where I cut it, I'm also going to put black marker. Okay, now the reason I'm putting foam tape, first of all, it's very sticky. And second of all, it gives me a little bit of a lip so that when I put something in my pocket, it will rest on something and it can be changed easily. I'm only doing 3 sides. Now my first one I did, I put the edges on my plastic first. I'm trying it differently today. Okay. Let's see if I can make that a little squarer. So one fun thing about this class when we try new things is you're with me when I try them. So you never quite know what you're going to get. I am going to do this totally different than I did before. I'm going just to take off my lining of foam tape and put on the plastic. And now I'm going to decorate it. So I'm removing the tape on the back of my strips. This is exactly the size I want it. And I'm making sure it's about 1/8 of an inch. This is actually just a little bit long. I want 1/8 of an inch of black showing. So just taking off a little so it won't show the plastic. You know the adage, measure twice, cut once. I should have measured that a little more carefully instead of eyeballing it. Okay, so I'm going to add this 3/7/8 of a, no, 3/4 of an inch strip at the bottom. And I have 1/8 of an inch there, but a little bit more there. So I'm going to try to take that off and put it more centered. This becomes permanent, but it's not quite permanent at the beginning. I also see a piece of hair. Taking that piece of hair off. Okay. All right, let's try that again. Get more equal siding. Okay. Now I'm going to put one at the top. There's no miters or anything, it's just straight. I just realized I took the lining, let me go back in the trash can. I took the lining off the top one, and it might stick because the plastic doesn't go that high. So I'm going to put a liner back on so it will not stick. Okay, now let's try the side pieces. Get my shortest ones. This works. Now I'm going to fold over a triangle on the back to get a miter, a 45-inch miter. 45-degree miter. And same thing here. Folding it at an angle. And then cutting that off. Let's put a little bit of distress ink on the parts I just cut. And see if it fits both. If it fits both, let's just make a copy of this. So I will cut off the edge. There we go. Put on a little distress ink on the edges. And now I'll remove the double-sided tape and finish the frame of my pocket. Start in the corner, end in the corner. Same thing for the other side. There, and now I have a mitered frame, and the top is empty. I'm going to worry about what's going inside later. I'm just going to close the box. And you can see a little bit white there, but we're going to add another piece of plastic. This is a little too narrow, so let's get another sheet. In this box, this top is a little bit wider, so I want to make sure I make the plastic big enough. Looks good. And then take off about 3/4 on the side. Okay, now this one is going to be flat, so I'm not using my foam tape, I'm just using regular tape. And I'm going to start, watch out for fingerprints, I'm going to start by adhering this double-sided tape all around the frame. And as long as I have a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch showing, I will not have to worry about positioning. This should catch it. So I will adhere the plastic flat on the top. Last one. Sort of funny, the plastic sort of disappears on my work desk. You can hardly see it. I don't see any fingerprints, so I'm going to place this down. Burnish it gently. Remember that acrylic stretches, so you don't want to burnish it hard. And now, let's plan our little frame. You know, I said I didn't want to worry about that frame there, but I said I have to cover up that white. So I'm going to make the frame go in just a little bit, make my border a little bigger. And I'm going to attach the opposite way this time. Now they're not the same size. This is a little wider. So I've got to cut this off to make them equal, so it'll be square. This is fudging a little bit. I'm not copying, or not doing my measure twice bit, which I should have done. Same size. Put my bottom layer on. Now, this is sort of my part of Claire Cheville's design, that I added this pocket, and I will gladly take advice on making it easier to adhere, or maybe by the time I make a few of these I'll have a better system. So this is really sort of a trial and error. So I'm just going to fold this over so I know my height. Cut that off. I'm afraid this is too short, so it's not going to show the miter. So let me cut off a miter. And see if I need something underneath. I think I need a little piece right there. So the miter won't have an edge showing. So I'm actually extending the length of this a little bit. right in the corner. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Fortunately, I have all these little pieces that I cut off. So this is going to be one of those times where you practice what I say, not what I do. Because I did not measure it accurately. I'm not real happy with that miter, but it's going to be what it is. It always can be removed, and I could cut another piece. So I'm taking this off and giving it a chance. This is another time where I might decorate the cover a little bit so the miters don't show as much. Yeah, this isn't working. Okay, let's think. I'm going to try again. Cutting this off. I'm thinking of drawing a miter rather than there. Now we'll try this. I have never fudged a cover quite as much. So I'm making a corner here. Okay, we're going to have to make a tag or something for this corner because it doesn't look good. What I probably will do is reprint some of this paper and try again. So, because I don't like the sizes of this. Okay, I'm going to officially call this a fail and remove it. And I'll use my digital paper and make some more of my strips because I only made my 8 I needed. Taking it off now so that it will be easier to remove. And I'm going to go to another box and show you the way it should be. But I will show you that now that the plastic's down, we do have a pocket in here that we can put anything in and design a pretty cover. I'm going to lay this aside. And I guess you call this the process. I I just don't particularly like failing while I'm on camera, but it happens. And I'm going to clear off my desk here. I'm going to keep these strips so I can measure better. And I'm going to bring out my other cover that I started earlier. Now this one, I put on the top a little bit different. I anchored it and I put the tape actually on the plastic so I can remove the plastic. I think I can remove the tape while it's in position. I have plastic on the top, and on the back I have the same idea. I put my miters in position first. Make sure it's straight. I'm just tearing off the liners of my plastic tape. I think I'll do the top of that one. Okay. Remember, I don't want this to be sticky, so I won't remove that one. Okay, I now have a plastic pocket there. And I can put something in here. It's still in the process of being designed, but what we're going to do is put up, it'll be our next step, step 10. We're going to decorate our covers, and the covers are going to go right inside, and they will be two-sided. So we'll do that in a whole separate step. And what I'm going to do is take my plastic and put a paper on top that you can hold it with. And I'll have to make it about the same size as my border. Now I can either do that, I think I'll make it the same size, so I'll cut it a little bit shorter. And this is going to go on my plastic to make it firm, so I'll have something to pull it out with. But like I said, this is already the next step. I'm really discombobulated this morning. Then I'm going to make a tab so I can pull it out easily, and that would make it a changeable pocket. Okay, let's go to the back, the front, and see if we can design the corners better on this one. And do be careful not to get adhesive on it. So I already mitered this where I want it. Let's see if it works. I think I'll put the ABC up right. Well, this one definitely was measured better. Okay. And this will be our cover. So I'm going to put 2 side pieces. I guess this shows you that prep is important. And if you measure carefully, it will fit better. Okay, I'm going to take off these paper here, but not all the way. So I want to make sure I get that miter right. So I'm just folding it down, keeping a liner on. This isn't my day. I think I'm just gonna stop now and I'll pick it up in number 10.